everybody, I've got Michael Go here, the Southeast Asia regional champion who qualified for this tournament, your first pro tour, playing Azorius Control and decided to run it back more or less this weekend.
Yep.
Why did you want to bring this deck?
I think the deck is in a very good place right now in the meta. Like most of his matchups are like 50-50 or sometimes even higher. Probably the worst matchup that I have is like super aggro decks, where I don't think they're gonna be too much present tomorrow. So yeah, I think it's really in a good spot right now.
And you love playing blue. We talked about
Yep.
that. You get to play a lot of blue in this deck. And if there's one thing blue loves, it is counter spells.
Yep.
So in this deck, you told me Absorb is your favorite counter spell. Why is that?
Yeah, so if you think about it, like there's a lot of three to cast counter spells out there in Pioneer, but I think Absorb is the best one, especially because it gives you additional three life. So
Right.
if let's say an opponent has 6 power on board and I have 12 life left, it basically gives me another turn, like to draw my removals or my sweepers.
Yeah, you told me it was kind of like a time walk.
It's like a time walk for me.
Sounds pretty good if you
Yeah.
can play a time walk in this tournament. You also like Sensor, so talk to me about what Sensor does for you in this deck.
Yeah, Sensor is very flexible. Like early turns, you get to counter most of their early threats, like 2 CMCs or 3 CMCs, and then at late game, you can cycle them for better cards.
Right, and hitting your land drop's really important in this
Yes.
deck, right?
Yes.
And Sensor helps you do that. Let's talk about the removal. So Fateful Absence, what does this card do in this deck for you?
I think a lot of players, like especially Azorius Control players out there, will think that why are you playing 2 of these and not like the other removals like Portable Hole or Lay Down Arms. But the instant speed removal is really like the reason why I chose this, because the deck is really weak against manlands. Like when you sweep the board, it's like the manlands are still there, and
Right.
they'll just beat you to death after that. So that's why I put this there, even though there's like an additional card draw for them. I usually combo it out with temporary lockdown to remove the clue token.
All right, let's talk about Temporary Lockdown because this is also kind of an unusual inclusion. What's this here for?
Yeah, this is a last-minute addition when before I played the RC, the regional championship. I was thinking it's like, oh, it's 3 mana. I probably like lose already at that time. Like my life count will be too low.
Right.
But the main reason I put this there is that when I check the matchups that I have, the worst matchups, like Mono White sticks out there, and Mono White can kill you in turn 4, like most of the time, and bringing down this in turn 3 will like stop them from doing that.
All right, there's Temporary Lockdown in this list. You're running Farewell and Supreme Verdict. Of course, you got to run those.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those are probably standard across the board in every version of any Azorius Control deck.
How good does it feel to cast a Supreme Verdict?
Like if they don't have any manlands and then you just sweep the board, it's like, a breath of fresh air. It's like, oh, now I can breathe.
I just have to know because as a creatures player, I literally have never cast that spell. So
Oh.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
That's okay. Somebody has to cast it.
You're on the other side of the fence.
Yes, so true. Let's talk about draw because, of course, card draw is something that you want to do in a control deck. Memory Deluge for you. You expecting a slower metagame to make this card important?
Yeah, so last time I was playing 2 Behold and 1 Memory because I saw the meta last time was a bit faster. Now when the meta is a bit slower and then Memory Deluge is much better because it has that flashback effect and it's like 1 card for 4 cards in return. And I can see a lot of Azorius players coming into this tournament.
So it's kind of like a mirror breaker for you.
Correct.
All right, and Behold the Multiverse. This card just really nice and flexible for you in card draw?
I usually don't side it out even in aggro deck against aggro decks because I can foretell it in turn 2 and then I can play it later once I sweep the board.
Well, you're a control player, but at some point you do actually have to win the game. So let's talk about your win cons. Let's start with your Planeswalkers, Wandering Emperor and Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. These are just incredible cards.
Yeah, I think most lists will play this 2 at least, and 3 at least of each. Some play 4, some play 4 of each and add more Planeswalkers. But for me, I think this is the right number, 3 each. I don't usually win because of this 2 Planeswalker, to be honest. It's very rare I win because of them, especially Teferi, because he can only win the game using like decking the
Your
opponent.
opponent's sadness.
Yeah, or ultimate, and then they'll just scoop to you.
Yeah.
But I usually win using my Hall of Storm Giants land and the most famous Shark Typhoon.
Shark Typhoon.
Yeah.
All right. So Shark Typhoon. I've got to ask for Twitch chat. How often do you hard cast this card?
Certain matchups wherein they cannot remove enchantments like Rectos, I usually find a way to like hard cast it, because once I hard cast it, like my win rate goes up, exponentially.
Yeah. We love to see it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about lands. Field of Ruin. You mentioned this was important to your deck. Why?
Yeah, I keep mentioning this to all my teammates, to even to players who ask me about my deck. It's like last time I was playing 2, and now I upped it to 3, because it's really a hard time for me to manage like man lands. So this is the main reason why I brought this.
And what about Jwari Ruins? Interesting one of here.
Yeah, so a lot of times I miss land drops, like probably my 4th land drop to cast that Supreme Verdict. And there were times wherein I only have 2 lands at the start of my hand and I need to mulligan. This helps that, because it's like a pseudo counter plus a land. So I've reduced my mulligans, a fair amount of mulligans, because now I basically have 27 lands.
Well, Michael Go, best of luck to you this weekend running Azorius Control.